The U.S. Border Patrol chief has announced a new $5,000 apprehension fee for detained illegal immigrants. The fee will apply to those who are 14 years and older. This comes as a lawsuit was filed by a group of more than 20,000 migrants this week over daily penalty fees. The administration announced previously that fiscal 2025 recorded the lowest number of apprehensions since 1970. For more, let's bring in former DHS senior advisor and author of Terrorists on the Border and in Our Country, Charles Marino. Charles, welcome.
Good to see you, Mike.
So we have this roundup taking place in the Big Easy, New Orleans. Here is the mayor-elect of that city on that, and I'll get you to react.
While we, of course, firmly believe that the most dangerous and violent offenders must be taken off of our streets, unfortunately, it does not appear that these are the people being targeted in Operation Catahoula Crunch. This operation is actually causing harm for the city of New Orleans.
What's your reaction, Charles?
Well, this is, of course, a falsehood. The sanctuary cities are also complaining about a lack of visibility, which they forget is of their own choosing because they want to remain a part of the problem. They want to continue to protect the most dangerous that are in the country illegally. And sanctuary cities are learning a very hard lesson here, and that is they have absolutely no say when it comes to the enforcement of federal laws. And if they don't want to work collaboratively with the Department of Homeland Security and ICE and CBP, then they will come into these cities and go it alone. If these cities want greater visibility, then be more collaborative. Allow ICE into the jails to identify the most dangerous. Deputize state and local police officers under 287G, as the Obama administration utilized during his 2 terms in office. Work collaboratively with ICE to get these dangerous people out of the country if this is what they're saying they agree with.
Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry told Fox News he supported federal efforts, quote, welcoming them to come in. How significant will this effort in New Orleans be?
Well, likely won't translate down to the local politicians who are going to put their foot down and continue to provide obstacles to the enforcement operations under the Trump administration. But the other lesson they're also learning, Mike, is that the courts don't agree with them ultimately. By the time this all plays out, including for the National Guard, by the way, the courts are ruling that the president and the executive branch have great authorities here when it comes to the national security of this country. Look, the courts have ruled the president has the authority to not only federalize the National Guard, but also deploy them to locations of his choosing. We just found that with the decision on Washington, D.C., and we will see it with other decisions in other locations, including out in Portland. So really, the president lays out the framework here, and the examples are robust of the threats that were allowed into the country under the Biden administration, and he still has the overwhelming support of the vast majority of the American people when it comes to this issue.
To Minneapolis, where another federal crackdown is taking place, I want to play a clip from Governor Tim Walz, and I'll get you to react.
Everything worries me about the way this immigration reform is happening. Masked folks showing up, not indicating who they are. Donald Trump made it clear. If there's no other story in Minnesota, the president of the United States called Minnesotans garbage and a hellhole. These are doctors, these are teachers, these are entrepreneurs, these are children, without any evidence whatsoever.
Will this effort make Minneapolis a safer city?
Absolutely, it will. We know that many unvetted illegals were allowed into the country, and especially from places like Somalia and other special interest locations where there was no possible way to thoroughly vet these individuals. The Biden administration, Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, they assured us that everybody was thoroughly vetted, beginning with the Afghan refugees that came to the United States. And we knew that was going to prove to be absolutely false. And we were right. Look, these threats are very real. And when somebody like Tim Walz complains about immigration reform, that's their code word for amnesty. They are upset. They're going to go into a corner and cry because they cannot give amnesty to these millions of illegals that they let into the country to impact the demographics of the Democratic Party.
Well, we clearly have a new sheriff in town up the street at the White House who is serious about enforcement. Charles Marino, thank you very much for your time and your analysis today.
Thanks, Mike.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.